For more than 3 decades, one man ruled the darkness of professional wrestling. He terrified opponents, dominated championships, and built one of the most legendary characters in sports entertainment history. The world knows him as The Undertaker. But behind the black hat, the eerie music, and the legendary undefeated streak, there is a very different side of the man whose real name is Mark Calaway. A father, a husband, and the head of a family that lives far away from the supernatural world of WWE. Today, we're taking you inside a side of The Undertaker that fans rarely get to see. His 4 children, their lives in 2026, and the powerful legacy left by one of wrestling's greatest icons. Some because while millions of fans know The Undertaker for his legendary WrestleMania moments, his greatest role might actually be the one he plays at home. Born in Houston, Mark Calaway became one of the most recognizable figures in professional wrestling history. His terrifying persona in WWE turned him into a global superstar. From the early 1990s all the way into the modern era, The Undertaker dominated the ring with unmatched presence. His legendary undefeated streak at WrestleMania became one of the most iconic achievements in sports entertainment. But while fans saw a mysterious figure who rarely broke character, behind the scenes, Mark Calaway was living a completely different life. A life focused on family. Over the years, The Undertaker became the father of 4 children, that each one growing up with a unique experience of having one of the most famous wrestlers in the world as their father. Yet surprisingly, most of his children have lived relatively private lives. Unlike many celebrity families, the Calaway children have largely stayed away from the spotlight, and that's exactly how The Undertaker wanted it. Despite earning millions during his wrestling career, he always tried to keep his family grounded and protected from the pressures of fame. But what are The Undertaker's children doing today? Are any of them following their father into wrestling? Do they live luxurious celebrity lifestyles like their legendary dad? Or have they chosen completely different paths? In this video, we'll reveal everything about The Undertaker's 4 children in 2026. Their lives, their careers, and the powerful legacy they inherited from the man known around the world as the Phenom. But first, let's take a closer look at the first child in the Undertaker family and how life looks when your father is one of the most intimidating legends in wrestling history. The first chapter of the Undertaker family story begins with his oldest son, Gunnar Vincent Calaway. Born in 1993, Gunnar grew up during the peak years of his father's legendary wrestling career. At the time, The Undertaker was dominating the ring and building one of the most iconic legacies in WWE history. For many children, having a famous parent can be overwhelming, but Gunnar's life turned out to be very different from what many fans expected. Despite his father's incredible fame in professional wrestling, Gunnar did not choose to follow the same path into the ring. Instead, he focused on building his own identity outside of wrestling. Gunnar pursued education and developed interests in creative fields, including digital media and gaming. Over the years, he has worked in areas connected to video production and streaming, so showing a completely different side of the Calaway family talent. Unlike many celebrity children who chase attention, Gunnar has mostly stayed away from the spotlight. And that decision reflects something important about the Undertaker family: privacy. The Undertaker's second child is Chasey Calaway, his daughter from a later relationship. Chasey grew up during a time when her father had already become a global wrestling icon. But at home, the terrifying WWE legend was simply dad. Friends of the family often describe Mark Calaway as surprisingly relaxed and humorous when he's away from the wrestling spotlight. For his children, that meant growing up with a father who valued normal family moments just as much as championship matches, school events, family dinners, and quiet time away from the cameras. Despite being the daughter of one of wrestling's biggest legends, Chasey has also lived a fairly private life. Very little about her personal career has been publicly revealed, and that privacy is something the Undertaker family has carefully protected over the years. But The Undertaker's family story doesn't end there. Later in life, Mark Calaway married fellow wrestling personality Michelle McCool. The couple became one of the most respected pairs in professional wrestling. Together, they welcomed a daughter named Kaya Faith Calaway. Kaya was born during the later years of The Undertaker's career, meaning she experienced a very different version of her father's life. By this time, the wrestling legend was beginning to slow down and focus more on family life, instead of constant world tours and wrestling matches. See, he spent more time at home in Texas, enjoying the quieter side of life. For Kaya, that meant growing up with a father who was present and focused on family. And finally, there is the fourth child connected to the Undertaker family, through his marriage and extended family life. While details about the younger members of the Calaway household remain private, one thing is clear. The Undertaker has always prioritized protecting his children from the intense spotlight of fame, even though millions of fans around the world know him as the mysterious and intimidating Phenom. At home, Mark Calaway is simply a father who values family above everything else. But what about the lifestyle that surrounds the Undertaker family today? After more than 3 decades in professional wrestling, The Undertaker has built a fortune that allows him and his family to live extremely comfortably. From beautiful homes to luxury cars and business ventures, the life of the Phenom outside the wrestling ring is just as fascinating as the career that made him famous. And in the next part, we'll take you inside The Undertaker's incredible Texas lifestyle, his stunning mansion, his luxury vehicles, and the massive fortune he built during his legendary career. Because when you're one of the most iconic superstars in WWE history, success doesn't stop when the bell rings. After more than 30 years of dominating the ring, The Undertaker didn't just leave behind a legendary wrestling legacy. He also built a lifestyle that reflects decades of success. Away from the dark arenas of WWE, the man behind the character, Mark Calaway, lives a much quieter and more comfortable life with his family. And that life is centered around his stunning home in Austin. Texas has always been close to the Undertaker's heart. The wide open landscapes, peaceful neighborhoods, and private estates make it the perfect place for a wrestling legend who spent most of his life traveling the world. His Texas property reportedly features spacious living areas, beautiful outdoor spaces, and the kind of privacy that global celebrities value the most. After decades of constant travel and intense wrestling schedules, this home represents something important: peace. A place where The Undertaker can finally relax and focus on family life. But of course, a legendary career like his also comes with a lifestyle filled with luxury. Over the years, The Undertaker has been associated with several impressive vehicles that match his larger-than-life personality. Like many successful celebrities, he has enjoyed powerful American trucks and high-end SUVs that combine comfort with strength. Vehicles that reflect his image, bold, powerful, and unmistakable. Unlike some celebrities who constantly show off flashy supercars, The Undertaker's style has always leaned toward powerful and rugged vehicles that match his Texas lifestyle. After all, when your wrestling persona is known for strength and intimidation, your choice of cars tends to reflect that same attitude. And then there is the fortune he built during his incredible wrestling career. Over the years, The Undertaker became one of the most valuable and respected performers in WWE history. From pay-per-view appearances to merchandise sales and major wrestling events, his character generated millions of dollars for the company. Because of this legendary status, The Undertaker reportedly earned some of the highest paydays in professional wrestling. By 2026, his estimated net worth is believed to be around $17 million. This fortune comes from decades of wrestling matches, television appearances, merchandise royalties, and special WWE events. But perhaps the most valuable asset he gained from his career is something that can't be measured in money: respect. Very few wrestlers in history have commanded the kind of respect that The Undertaker earned during his career. inside the wrestling industry. He became known as a leader and mentor to younger performers. Many WWE superstars have openly spoken about how The Undertaker helped guide them during their early careers. His dedication, professionalism, and loyalty to WWE made him one of the most trusted figures backstage. And that reputation helped secure his place as one of the greatest icons in professional wrestling history. But while the world will always remember the legendary entrances, the unforgettable matches, and the terrifying presence of the Phenom, there is another legacy that matters even more to Mark Calaway, his family. And in the final part, we'll explore how The Undertaker's children carry the legacy of one of wrestling's most mysterious legends, and what the future may hold for the next generation of the Calaway family. Because sometimes the greatest legacy a legend leaves behind isn't in the ring, it's at home. After officially retiring from in-ring competition, the wrestling legend has embraced a quieter lifestyle focused on family, personal interests, and enjoying the rewards of his incredible career. And at the center of that new chapter are his 4 children. Although none of his children have stepped fully into the wrestling spotlight, yet they still carry the legacy of one of the most famous figures in sports entertainment. Growing up as the children of a global superstar comes with unique challenges, but it also brings opportunities. From education to creative careers, the next generation of the Calaway family is building their own paths, and their father has always supported them in finding their own identity outside the shadow of the wrestling ring. For The Undertaker, this has always been important. He spent most of his life performing in front of millions of fans, but when it came to family, he chose privacy over publicity. Even years after retirement, his legendary status in WWE continues to grow. New generations of wrestling fans continue discovering his matches, his unforgettable rivalries, and his undefeated streak at WrestleMania remains one of the most legendary achievements in wrestling history. And his influence on younger wrestlers continues to shape the industry today. For many fans and performers alike, The Undertaker represents the very definition of loyalty and dedication to professional wrestling. Today, with an estimated net worth of around $17 million, a beautiful home in Austin, and a lifetime of unforgettable achievements, Mark Calaway is enjoying the next phase of life. The legacy of The Undertaker will live on forever in professional wrestling history. But perhaps the most meaningful legacy isn't the championships, the legendary matches, or the fame. It's the family he built along the way. Because behind the legendary Phenom, there will always be a father whose greatest role is the one he plays at home. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to Life of Legends for more stories about celebrity lifestyles, net worth, and legendary careers. Because behind every legend, there's a life story worth discovering.